20 years old. It's the anniversary of the Control album, which was released 20 years ago in 1986. And I didn't want to let that moment pass by without celebrating it. Not just musically did it mean a great deal to me, but what it stood for and where I was in my life and as a young adult and what I was going through meant a great deal to me. And that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to celebrate the Control album. And me working with Jimmy and Terry for the first time was that project, the Control album. I was young. I was 19 when I made the album, 20 when it was in the middle of it after being released. And I was very, very, very shy, very sheltered. I made a lot of changes in my life. I was a young adult. I had been married and the marriage was annulled a little after a year of being together. I had experienced things that a lot of, or at least I felt a lot of kids, young adults my age hadn't, and I wanted to share those experiences with the world. There were times when I felt very alone, and I just wanted other kids to know, other young adults to know that they're not alone, that it's okay to feel these feelings, and that I think at the time, I think they're natural. I think we're supposed to go through this kind of stuff. But I was moving out, being on my own, and that was frightening, especially being the baby of the family. For my parents, it was frightening. It was a step I was ready to take. And just a lot of different things happening in my life at that time. Finding my path, my dreams and my goals, and wanting to see them come to fruition and making a step toward them coming to fruition. And also a really big thing for me was firing my father, who had been my manager up until then. And that was really tough for me to do. So it's a lot of different things, but all very, very personal things for me. Where I am now in my life, I always write about life experiences. And it's not a socially conscious album. Some people thought that maybe I should tap upon a few issues. I don't want to do that. I know I want a little bit of escapism with what's going on in the world today. And I think there are others that feel as I do. So I have to just follow my heart and go with what my gut tells me to do. And I'm in a happy space. It's up. It's fun. It's light. Even though there are, issues, certain issues. Nothing really, really heavy, but certain issues. Nice issues, though. Talking about with a young adult. This is light. This album, and I wanted it to be that. I wanted to bring smiles to people's faces, not concern, and not to be thought-provoking in that way. One of the things I love about working with Jimmy and Terry is they always allow the artists to show who they really are through the albums. A lot of producers don't do that. They don't allow that. I think it's important for the audience to get to know that artist, and what obviously better way than listening to the lyrics and whatever music it is that they'd like to create surrounding those lyrics. Creatively speaking, the four of us, Jermaine, myself, Jimmy, and Terry, it was great working in the studio. I mean, nothing's changed. We hadn't skipped a beat. Always work the same way we always do, sit around and talk about exactly what it is that we want to accomplish musically and even lyrically speaking. And Jermaine being the new kid on the block, it was great because, for one, I'm very impatient and he's very fast in the studio. So that was perfect for me. And I had never seen him create before. So I saw him create for the first time working on this project. And it was very, very easy, very smooth. We wanted to take music that inspired me 25 years ago and incorporate those songs, some of those songs, sample them and create new bodies of work around them. And that's the idea for 20 years old. It's very magical. It really is very magical. We understand each other so well. We've never had any dramas, any issues. I think that's one of the things one of the reasons why we've been able to stay together. We respect one another. We value each other's opinion. If we think something's great, we acknowledge it. If we think something is wrong, we acknowledge it. And we have that kind of open relationship. And I think that's why we have been able to maintain a working relationship and create work that really has spoken for itself through the audience that people have obviously shown to love. You don't get that often. And when there is magic there, somehow something comes between it. Just as my brother Mike and Quincy, I wish they would have continued to work together. And it's too bad that they didn't. I think they would have gone on to do some beautiful, much more incredible, amazing things together. But who knows, maybe someday they'll get together again. It was great for him because he always says, excuse me, he's always talked about how Jimmy and Terry have inspired him to as a writer, as a songwriter, and as a producer. And he just chimed right in. I mean, it was truly a collaborative effort. He'd come into the studio and he'd say, I had this idea. He said, remember the song you guys did in such and such year with such and you used such and such sounds? He goes, we should do something like that. We should reach back, put a new twist on it. So everything they understood, and it was right along the lines of the album and creating it in 25 years ago and 20 years old. And it was perfect. Such a perfect marriage between the four of us. Very easy. Jermaine asked me, who did I want on this album? And the first person I told him was Nelly. And I had the pleasure of spending a little time with Nelly. Jermaine and Nelly are best friends, but before Jermaine and I got together, I had the pleasure of spending time with Nelly. You meet different people at different functions, and he was always such a nice guy and, fun to hang around. So we'd always say hello and speak to each other and have a few laughs. And he has a great energy. I'm very big on people's energy and surrounding yourself with positive energy. And he has a wonderful spirit about him. And I have always thought he was very talented, so he was the first person that I spoke of. They went to Atlanta, and they were fooling around with a few ideas. And Jermaine called me up. I was in LA. And I was I at home at the time? I think I was home. I wasn't recording. And he said, I want to play you something we've been working on. He says, but we don't want to go any further with it because we just want to make sure we're on the right path. It's something that you're interested in. And I fell in love with it the minute I heard just a little bit of it. So yeah, that's definitely it. So they wrote the song. I didn't write that song with them. And I think he sounds great on it. I love his voice on it. It's like a calm ocean. It's very smooth, like still water. Hype is crazy. He's a madman. I've never worked with anybody like him before in my life. He changes things at the last minute. When you think you're going to want to do one thing, you're doing another. It's all here, though. It's all in his head. And it still relates to the concept that you read. I wanted to do something different from other videos that I saw on the music channels today and on the internet. And kind of tap upon something that I hadn't done in a long time, do a little bigger video. You don't see that much anymore. And I miss that. And the person to call for that is Hype, because he's got a crazy imagination. And I think we accomplished it. I love playing all the... I hate putting on makeup and all that stuff when I'm at home, but I love it for videos. It's just, it's like playing different characters. It's fun. I enjoyed it. It was a 10-day shoot, a long shoot, especially for videos today. I think we're all critics. It's an opinion. It's one person's opinion. And what's the saying? At least in America, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. We all have an opinion. I don't read reviews. I don't. Even when it comes to films and stuff, I check it out for myself.